One quiet afternoon, on the edge of the woods by the Suwannee River, a fawn was lost. It wandered around, looking for its mother, legs shaking and eyes filled with worry. A faint mee call echoed in the gentle breeze that blew across the water. Suddenly, it stumbled into the rushing water. The cold, muddy water swept it away from the shore in a flash. It struggled, its small legs unable to resist the whirlpool, its eyes wide open, its mouth screaming for help, a desperate sound echoing through the wind and waves. It was engulfed by the water and then floated up, as if it was about to lose all hope. There was no sign of its mother, only the threatening waves all around. Panic made it slam its feet into the dirty water that was squeezing its small body. Its belly was full of water, its ears trembling with cold and fear. It struggled to breathe, each breath choking in the midst of indescribable terror. Almost exhausted, it still tried to call for help one last time unconsciously. A large wave swept across, causing its body to spin around, drifting near a tree branch, but no one was there, and the little deer seemed to be about to sink for the last time. On the riverside road, Lucas Bennett was driving a convertible with his dog named Beer. Lucas heard a faint cry echoing through the rushing water. He stopped the car abruptly, frowned, and looked around, trying to determine the source of the strange sound. Beer lifted his head, ears perked up, growling softly, as if he also realized something was wrong. Lucas ran towards the riverbank, where the water was murky and swirling. He shouted loudly, "Is anyone there?" But only the sound of water answered. Beer suddenly barked loudly and rushed forward without hesitation. As Lucas ran, he saw a small creature floating in the middle of the stream. "Oh my God, it's a little deer," he cried out, his heart pounding with anxiety. He didn't have time to think about anything else, his eyes never leaving the image of that small creature. Beer dove into the murky water without hesitation, swimming straight towards the deer. It swam strongly, water splashing on both sides, its eyes focused with determination. The fawn still struggled desperately, unaware that its savior was approaching. Beer moved closer, stretching his neck to latch onto the deer's neck as gently as possible. The deer was surprised, its legs contracted, thinking it was a predator attacking. But then it felt secure, safe, without claws or fangs. Beer turned his head, starting to swim upstream, every movement steady and decisive. He skillfully kept the deer's head above the water, not letting it choke anymore. Lucas stood waiting at the edge of the bank, kneeling, ready to catch both of them when they got close. Beer swam over silently, only a few meters away from safety. Lucas quickly took the deer from Beer's mouth and gently placed it on the wet ground. The deer was shivering, water still dripping from its ears and neck. Lucas took off his coat and wrapped it around the small, cold body. Beer stood next to him, his tongue hanging out, panting, but his eyes still following the deer. "It's okay, baby. We got there just in time," Lucas whispered comfortingly. He picked it up and placed it in the back seat of the blue convertible. Taking a towel from the trunk, he dried the little body part by part. Beer sat in the front seat, turning his head to look closely, as if to check on the condition of his new friend. The deer began to calm down, breathing more evenly when he was carefully warmed. Lucas got into the car, started the engine, and turned back home with a clear decision. Lucas's small wooden house was located in the middle of a green, grassy hill near the forest. He spread a warm towel for the deer to lie on in the living room, next to the fireplace. Beer lay beside him, not taking his eyes off it, as if he was protecting the little creature. Lucas fed the fawn warm milk from a bottle and gently rubbed its forehead. The fawn looked at him with eyes that gradually softened, more trusting with each touch. The next day it was able to stand up, taking a few small steps in the backyard. Lucas named it Dotty because of the cute white spots on its back. Dotty began to follow Bear around the yard, curious about everything around. Bear gently and patiently taught Dotty how to smell, dig, and listen to birds. Lucas took them for a walk in the nearby park every morning. The townspeople smiled when they saw Bear and Dotty running around in the grass. Dotty would sometimes curl up in Lucas's arms when the afternoons got cold. The three became an odd but perfectly harmonious family. Bear no longer growled or looked around, but always lay close to Dotty like a big brother. Lucas knew this was true, and that the day of separation would come. After 2 weeks, Lucas knew it was time to help Dotty find her mother. He looked at a map of the Suwannee River, noting the places where the mother deer had been. One sunny morning, Lucas put Dotty and Bear in the car and drove back to the old river. Dotty was quiet, but her ears moved constantly, as if listening for something familiar. When they reached the riverbank that day, Lucas turned off the car and opened the door for Dotty to step out. Bear ran around, sniffing, while Lucas looked around for any traces in the forest. Suddenly, from afar, a large deer stood still on the edge of the forest, not running away. It was a female deer, with round eyes heavy with anticipation. Dotty froze for a few seconds, then suddenly stretched and ran towards her. Lucas held his breath, while Bear sat still, watching Dotty's every step. Dotty ran over, stopped for a moment, then pressed her head against the mother deer's body. The mother deer licked Dotty's head lightly, shivering slightly, as if to confirm. Lucas looked at the reunion before him with tears in his eyes, his heart tightening with happiness. Bear barked softly, as if to say goodbye. Lucas sighed, smiled, and nodded. "We did the right thing, Bear." Dotty turned to look at Lucas and Bear one last time, her eyes filled with gratitude and longing. Lucas waved goodbye and said, "Go live like a real wild deer." The mother deer led Dotty into the woods, their silhouettes gradually disappearing behind the dense trees. Lucas and Bear returned to the car, the sunlight shining on the peaceful river. A new chapter had ended, full of kindness, hope, and a friendship without borders.